Hey everyone, and welcome to Voyagist. And let me tell you, I'm so excited for this journey. We're about to explore some of the most beautiful castles in the world. Get ready to be transported back in time because we're talking centuries-old fortresses, stunning architecture, and maybe even a few ghosts. We'll be your virtual tour guides, sharing fun facts, must-see sights, and maybe even a few silly stories along the way. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be amazed by these incredible structures. Before we get started, here are some fun facts about these castles. A fun fact about Neuschwanstein Castle is that it was never fully completed. King Ludwig II, who commissioned the castle in 1869, only lived there for about 172 days before his mysterious death in 1886. Construction was halted after his death, leaving many rooms inside the castle unfinished. A fun fact about Edinburgh Castle is that it is home to the world's oldest surviving crown jewels, known as the Honours of Scotland. These historic regalia, including a crown, sceptre, and sword of state, were first used together in 1543 for the coronation of Mary, Queen of Scots. A fun fact about Château de Chantilly in France is that it houses one of the finest art collections in the country, second only to the Louvre. The castle's Musée Condé features over 800 masterpieces, including works by Raphael, Botticelli, and Delacroix. A fun fact about the Palace of Versailles is that it was originally built as a hunting lodge. King Louis XIII commissioned it in 1623 as a modest retreat for hunting trip, later transformed into a palace by his son, Louis XIV. A fun fact about the Alhambra in Granada is that its name means the Red One in Arabic, referring to the reddish hue of its walls at sunset. The palace fortress is famous for its intricate Islamic architecture, and one of its most fascinating features is the Court of the Lions. A fun fact about Mont Saint-Michel in France is that it becomes an island and mainland peninsula depending on the tides. During high tide, the water surrounds the rocky island, isolating it completely, while at low tide it can be accessed on foot via a causeway. A fun fact about Kilkenny Castle in Ireland is that it was originally built in 1195 by the Normans as a symbol of their power and to guard a strategic crossing of the River Nore. A fun fact about Hochosterwitz Castle in Austria is that it has an incredible 14 fortified gates leading up to the castle, each designed to slow down and thwart attackers. A fun fact about Santa Barbara Castle in Spain is that it sits atop Mount Benacantil, which, when viewed from a certain angle, resembles a human face in profile. I hope this little virtual tour has inspires you to pack your bags and experience the magic of these castles for yourself. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more travel adventures around the world. First stop, Germany. And no, we're not talking about pretzels and beer gardens. Well, not just yet. We're headed to Neuschwanstein Castle, a real-life fairy tale castle nestled in the Bavarian Alps. This castle looks like it's straight out of a Disney movie, and for good reason. It's said to have inspired the iconic Sleeping Beauty castle. Can you picture Aurora waking up here? Built by King Ludwig II, who, let's just say, really loved his fantasy worlds, this castle is a masterpiece of Romanesque revival architecture. I mean, the turrets, the towers, the location, it's breathtaking. And speaking of breathtaking, wait until you see the views of the Bavarian Alps from the castle. It's like something out of a postcard or a really expensive jigsaw puzzle. Next up, we're heading to Scotland, the land of bagpipes, kilts, and, of course, castles. And not just any castle, we're talking about Edinburgh Castle, perched high above the city on a volcanic rock. This castle has seen it all, from royal banquets to bloody battles. It's been a royal residence, a military fortress, and even a prison. Talk about a castle with stories. One of the coolest things about Edinburgh Castle is its location. It sits at the top of the Royal Mile, a historic street lined with shops, pubs, and more history than you can shake a stick at. And if you're lucky enough to be in Edinburgh during the Edinburgh Military Tattoo, don't miss it. It's a world-famous military spectacle with bagpipes, drums, and enough tartan to make your head spin. Bonjour from Chantilly, France, everybody. This place is so fancy, even I feel underdressed. Chantilly Castle is like stepping into a fairy tale with incredible art. We're talking masterpieces by Raphael, Delacroix, you name it, and don't forget the famous Chantilly cream. Now, after you've had your fill of art and cream, like that's even possible, be sure to wander through the gardens. They're so big and beautiful, fountains that'll make you want to dance, and flowers in every color you can imagine. And speaking of horses, did I mention the horses? Chantilly Castle is also home to the great stables. Next, get ready to be dazzled, people, because we're headed to the Palace of Versailles, the most extravagant royal residence in all of France. This place is so over the top. The palace has over 2,300 rooms, including the stunning Hall of Mirrors, which is adorned with 357 mirrors reflecting light from its 17 large windows. Imagine a room so sparkly and bright, you need sunglasses just to look at it. Now, if you thought the palace itself was impressive, just wait till you see the gardens. We're talking 2,000 acres of perfectly manicured lawns, fountains that dance to music, and more flowers than you can shake a stick at. And speaking of fairy tale, rumor has it that Marie Antoinette, you know, the let them eat cake queen, had her own little village built in the gardens so she could play peasant. Hola from Spain, everyone! Get ready to say ole, because we're headed to the Alhambra in Granada, a city so beautiful it'll steal your heart faster than you can say sangria. The Alhambra is a stunning example of Moorish architecture, which is a fancy way of saying it's like stepping into a real-life Arabian Nights story. We're talking intricate tilework, graceful arches, and courtyards filled with the scent of orange blossoms. Now, the Alhambra is actually a complex of palaces, gardens, and fortresses, so make sure you wear your comfy shoes because there's a lot of ground to cover. One of the coolest things about the Alhambra is that it's full of hidden courtyards and secret gardens. It's like a giant maze, only instead of being chased by a minotaur, you're surrounded by beauty. Be sure to check out the Court of the Lions, named after the 12 marble lions guarding the fountain. Legend has it that if the lions ever stop roaring, the world will end. And don't miss the General Life Gardens, which are like something out of a fairy tale. Next, buckle up, we're heading to Transylvania, Romania, home of Dracula. Well, not really, but it is home to Bran Castle, linked to the legendary vampire. Even if you're not a fan of fangs, this castle is worth a visit. It's perched high on a cliff, overlooking the Carpathian Mountains. The castle is an amazing mix of Gothic architecture. Inside, you'll find winding staircases and secret passages. Bran Castle is a fascinating glimpse into Romanian history and legend. Even if vampires aren't your thing, Bran Castle has something for everyone. The surrounding landscape is breathtaking, with rolling hills and lush forests. Bonjour from France, everyone! Next, we're visiting Mont Saint-Michel, a magical island that seems to float on water. This place is so dreamy you'd swear it was plucked straight out of a fairy tale. Picture this. A towering medieval abbey perched on a rocky islet. At high tide, the water rushes in, turning Mont Saint-Michel into a mysterious island fortress. And at low tide, the water recedes, revealing a sandy causeway you can walk across. Once you reach the top, you'll be rewarded with breathtaking panoramic views. Mont Saint-Michel is more than just a pretty face. This UNESCO World Heritage Site dates back to the 8th century. It was a monastery, and those monks knew prime real estate. Wander through winding streets and cobblestone paths, hear echoes of monks chanting and knights clinking glasses. Next, we're whisking away to the Emerald Isle, where rolling green hills meet charming towns and ancient castles. Today's destination? Kilkenny Castle, a majestic fortress that's as Irish as a four-leaf clover. It's got towering turrets, imposing walls, stunning views, and a history as rich as a perfectly poured Guinness. Built in the 12th century, it's seen battles, sieges, and royal banquets. Through it all, it stood the test of time, evolving into a magnificent landmark. Next up, we're heading to Austria, and let me tell you, this castle is anything but Austria ordinary. It's called Hochosterwitz Castle. Hochosterwitz Castle sits atop a 160-meter, 525-foot Dolomite rock and offers stunning panoramic views of the surrounding countryside, making it one of Austria's most picturesque and iconic castles. And the best part? To get to the top, you have to go through 14, yes, 14 different gates. I mean, can you imagine? Talk about a workout. It's like the world's most elaborate escape room. But instead of escaping, you're trying to get in. And the views? Forget about it. They're so breathtaking, you might just forget about the fact that you just walked through 14 gates. Just try not to get locked out. Now, Hochosterwitz Castle has been around for over 1,200 years, and in all that time, it's never been conquered. Never. But hey, if you're looking for a castle that's full of history, intrigue, Hochosterwitz Castle is definitely worth a visit. Hola from Spain, everyone! We're heading to the sunny city of Alicante to visit a castle that's about as beautiful as a flamenco dancer in a red dress. I'm talking about Santa Barbara Castle, and it's perched high above the city, overlooking the sparkling Mediterranean Sea. This castle has it all: history, stunning views, and enough sunshine to give you a tan just by looking at it. It's the perfect place to soak up some history, soak up some sun, and maybe soak up a few too many tapas. Hey, no judgment here. When in Spain, right? Now, Santa Barbara Castle has been around for centuries, dating all the way back to the Romans. Over the centuries, the castle has been ruled by everyone from the Moors to the Christians, and each group has left its mark on this incredible structure. Today, you can explore the castle's many towers, ramparts, and courtyards, each with its own unique story to tell. But seriously, Santa Barbara Castle is a must-see for any visitor to Alicante. Well, that's it for our whirlwind tour of the world's most beautiful castles. From Germany to Spain and everywhere in between, we've seen some pretty incredible sights. We've climbed towers, wandered through gardens, and maybe even dodged a few ghosts along the way. But most importantly, we've learned that castles aren't just old buildings. They're reminders of the past, symbols of power, and sometimes even a little bit magical. So next time you're planning a trip, why not add a castle or two to your itinerary? You never know what kind of adventure awaits you behind those ancient walls. Thanks for watching, and keep exploring.